All right, welcome back. We are jumping right into Stave 2 of A Christmas Carol. Now, this is a big one for your AQA GCSE revision, because it's where Scrooge's real journey begins. He's about to be yanked back into his own past by the very first of the three spirits. So let's get into it. So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow Scrooge through 5 key memories. First, we'll meet the very strange ghost who's leading the tour. Then, we'll dig into his lonely childhood to see where it all started. After that, we'll see a flash of joy with his old boss Fezziwig before witnessing the really tough moment he chose money over love. And finally, we'll look at how he completely loses it at the end. So the clock strikes 1. A light just floods Scrooge's room, and there it is, his first ghostly guide. But this is nothing like Marley's ghost. No clanking chains here. The spirit is, well, it's a lot weirder. It's like a living puzzle. Dickens just loads the spirit with symbolism. I mean, think about it. It looks like a child and an old man at the same time. That's a perfect picture of memory, right? It feels like it was ages ago, but also like it was just yesterday. It's holding winter holly, but wearing summer flowers, showing that our past holds all the seasons of our life. And that bright light shooting from its head, that is the light of truth. It's memory itself, and it's the one thing Scrooge has been trying to shut out for decades. This quote is absolutely key. Scrooge's very first reaction is to tell the spirit to put on its cap, to literally put out the light. He wants to snuff out the truth before he even sees it. The ghost calls him out immediately. This whole idea of willful ignorance, of choosing not to see, is central to Scrooge's character. He's been putting out that light his whole life, and now it's shining right in his face. The spirit doesn't mess around. It takes Scrooge straight back to where it all began, back to his old, grim boarding school. This is ground zero for Scrooge's loneliness. Dickens gives us this really bleak image of a long, bare, melancholy room. And sitting there all by himself while all the other kids are home for Christmas is little Scrooge. His only companions are characters from books like Ali Baba. You can just feel the chill of neglect in that room. Oof. The ghost's words here are just haunting. Notice it says the child is left there still. It's not just that he was there in the past. In a way, that lonely abandoned boy is still trapped inside the old, bitter man. For the very first time, we get a hint that Scrooge's cruelty might come from a place of deep, old pain. And here it is, the first crack in that icy exterior. This is a massive turning point. The guy who thinks feelings are humbug is actually crying. He's feeling pity. Not for someone else, but for himself, for his poor, forgotten self. It proves his heart isn't completely made of stone. There's still something human in there. And boom, the memory immediately triggers regret about the present. He connects his own lonely childhood to the poor carol singer he just scared off. This is the very first sign that he can change, the first time he wishes he'd been kind. The ghost's lesson is hitting home, and it's hitting fast. Okay, so from that cold, sad schoolroom, the ghost completely flips the script. He throws Scrooge into a memory that is just bursting with warmth and life and pure joy. We're at the Christmas party of his old boss, the one and only Mr. Fezziwig. Now, Fezziwig doesn't just throw a party. He literally transforms his warehouse, a place of work, into this incredible ballroom. And look who's invited. Everyone. His family, his apprentices, the housemaid, the baker, even the milkman. It's a real community, a vision of connection and generosity that Scrooge has completely rejected in his own life. So the ghost kind of pokes at Scrooge, saying, oh, it's just a small thing, this party. But Scrooge leaps to Fezziwig's defense. And his defense is maybe the most important lesson in this whole stave. He says the happiness Fezziwig gives is worth a fortune, because a boss has the power to make your life a pleasure or a toil. It's not about the money spent, it's about the joy created. Dickens is so clever here. He sets up Fezziwig as the perfect foil to Scrooge. A foil is just a character who is the complete opposite of another, and they really highlight each other's qualities. Fezziwig invests in people. Scrooge invests in money. Fezziwig gets social responsibility. Scrooge only gets self-interest. Fezziwig is everything a good businessman could be, which makes Scrooge's treatment of Bob Cratchit look even worse. The high of Fezziwig's party doesn't last long. The ghost moves on to Scrooge's most painful memory. This is it. This is the fork in the road, the moment he actively chose money over love. And we meet the woman he left behind, his ex-fiancée, Belle.
Belle just lays it all out on the table with this absolutely devastating line. She's ending their engagement and she tells him exactly why. He has a new idol, a new god that he worships instead of her, a golden one. His love for her has been completely replaced by his love for money.
So this forces us, and Scrooge, to ask, how did he get here? Bell explains that he used to have nobler aspirations, but his fear of being poor twisted into this all-consuming obsession with getting rich. And the terrible irony is that in trying to secure his future, he lost the one person who he wanted to share that future with. And her last words, just heartbreaking. She's not screaming or yelling. It's just this profound sadness. She knows he's made his choice, and it's a life of wealth without her. And Scrooge has to just stand there and watch it all over again, reliving the exact moment he sealed his own lonely fate. As if that wasn't brutal enough, the ghost twists a knife one last time. It shows him Belle years later, surrounded by a happy, noisy, loving family. Everything he gave up. Then her husband mentions seeing Scrooge earlier that day, sitting all alone in his office. He says Scrooge looked quite alone in the world. The contrast is just crushing. It's the life he could have had versus the empty one he chose. Okay, so Scrooge has been dragged through the mud. He's seen where his loneliness started, the joy he threw away, and the love he lost. What does he do with all of this painful truth? Well, let's see how this whole traumatic trip ends. He completely snaps. He can't take it anymore. But he doesn't respond with reflection or acceptance. He responds with violence. He grabs the ghost's cap, that extinguisher, and tries to physically force it down on the ghost's head to put out that unbearable light. It's a desperate final act of denial. He's trying to literally shut down the truth. So, what was the whole point of this painful experience? Well, the ghost had a clear mission. It had to show Scrooge why he is the way he is. It forced him to feel things he hadn't felt in years and to face choices he'd long since buried. And even though Scrooge literally fights back at the end, it's too late. The first seeds of change, those tears he shed, his regret about the carol singer, they've already been planted. And that leaves us with the big question as we end Stave 2. Scrooge has seen his past, and his first instinct was to attack it. So has this journey actually started him on the road to redemption? Or has seeing all this pain just made him want to hide even more? We'll have to wait for the next spirit to find out.